At this point, we've talked about how to integrate individual data widgets into OpenBB Workspace. We went through all of these steps and how we integrated each of these widgets, what the configuration looks like, what does the data look like, right? But how do we create these layouts, right? Because I can open a new dashboard and I can look for Markdown widget, which is available here. And you will have a predetermined size that you can actually like move, right? That is defined on the widgets.json. So in this case, we have this markdown widget that has the size width 12 and height 4. That's what's defined here. And so I can actually go into the code and let's say I don't want this to be 12. I want it to be 40. And this guy, let's double it. We want to be 80. I'm going to save it so that it refreshes. I need to go here, right click and say refresh backend. Okay, it's refresh backend. You see, this didn't change. But now what happens when I add it here? You saw the changes, right? And so why does it happen on this one and not on the other one? That's very simple. That's because we have a file called apps.json, right? And what happens is each widget individually has their own like settings, properties, like this one, the width and the height, for instance. But when you rearrange it into the apps.json with a specific layout, then you are essentially controlling how the widget looks like within that application. So for instance, in this case, let's say that I do this and maybe let's go back here. Let's say, and I have this table widget. Let's say that I want to add the table widget here and look for table widget. This one. And maybe for some reason I want to add it like this. And maybe we want a navigation bar and maybe we want another tab. And this one is called tab 2. Okay. Now imagine that I want to save this as an application. Now what I would do is I come here, I click export apps and I say application 2. This is used for demo. I don't have an image. You can see here, there's no groups. There's only 3 widgets. And that's basically it. So now what I do is I copy this template to my clipboard. And so now I can go here and I look for the apps.json from the reference backend. Let's do getting started, reference backend, and then apps.json. Here we go. And we already have one here. So what we're going to do is just simply add another one. I save it here. And then I'm going to actually refresh the backend here. So now on the apps, you'll see that there's application 2. So when I click here, it re-renders. So if we actually go into this apps.json and now I refresh it, you'll see that we have the application 2 here as the... Here, perfect. You can see here that it was just created. And so you see, I didn't really go onto the code to generate these. I do it all from the front end to make it super easy on me. And even parameters and configurations like that, you can control here, okay? And this is how we get to something that I can click and then just renders everything exactly as I want it. Even the grouping mechanism remains in the apps.json. And then the other thing that you can add is the prompt. So if you have certain workflows that prompt will run based on the dashboard that you've created, those can be saved on that apps.json file.